Hey kids, are you on your best behavior? I hope not. Okay, what? Today we're talking about a couple of elements of rock and roll guitar playing. And one is the rhythm guitar playing, and the other is molten leads. When you're playing your leads, to know your molten lead patterns. So I'm going to demonstrate both of these things in the key of G major, a good country key in the immortal words of Duck Dunn. Okay, hey, here's a guitar. Here's a G chord. There's one way to play it. There's another way to play it. I think I'm going to do this molten lead pattern thing first. If you look on my channel, there's a couple of lessons on lead patterns in D major. And now these are the same things, but in G. So, hey, I'm just going to start with a simple one. If you start right on the open third string, right? I'll just come in real close, right? You're always, with these lead patterns, always going do, re, mi, so, la, do. And often what people will do is they will slide up on the third or fourth finger, whichever is doing the job, on the highest note, and slide back down on the first finger. So that's a good thing to practice, going do, re, mi, re, do. You can also bend that, and after which my guitar will probably be out of tune, but that happens too. That's there it is. So just to show you that any of that turf, I'm not going to go deep into that subject today because I'm playing the acoustic, but so here's another G, and you can start the same pattern. Do, re, mi, so, la, do. So it's 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 5. And then you keep going. 5, 7, 9, 7, 9, 8. And that's where the rubber hits the road. There's this little crazy business between the G and the B strings that's always vexing us and maybe thinking we should tune our guitars like Stanley Jordan, but we don't. And so the way that I tend to maneuver that little hiccup in the fretting is I'll play first finger. I use my fourth finger a lot, more than many players, but fourth finger, 1, and then I'll actually use 2 often, and I'll use a little bit of sort of mandolin position where I'm actually will use the diagonal of the finger to reach forward, and then I'll pivot on that second finger. So see that? You could also, if you like this better, there's no harm, no foul, you could use your third finger and then just kind of creep your first finger in there. I've been known to do that as well. My first finger, never mind. Just creep it in there. So instead of, I'll show you, this was what I first showed you, which was pivoting on the second finger, which is a first finger extension between the second finger and first finger, where I'm sliding the first finger back to the 7th fret. Oops. The other way to do that, instead of that first finger extension, is to go ahead and, let's say, use the third finger, and then you just slide this towards the other finger so that your first finger ends up at 8, and then you can continue the pattern. Do, re, mi, mi, so, la. Oh, look at that. You can also slide down on that note. That's why these are good for your molten leads. Okay, because they have a lot of expressive capability in them. You can slide up, or you can slide down, like that way, or like that, and have lots of good times. Okay, so that's our molten lead territory for the day. Oh wait, hold on a second. So we did it in open position, and then I did it here. could pull a little jiggy maneuver right there. See that one? I did do, re, mi. So, and then on my first finger I slid up la, do. Okay, I'm hitting the 5-minute mark where usually people fall asleep on YouTube, so I better start making my points fast. So, right there, you can also start on the 5th. So, la, do, and do the same thing starting there. I'm going to run out of guitar neck or run into the body, but let's see. So here I'm starting 10, 12, 10, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 16, 15, 17, 15. Okay, speaking of which, in a lot of rock and roll or blues guitar playing, particularly kind of garage band style playing, oftentimes the two rhythm guitar players or the two guitar players when playing rhythm can take roles of the left hand of boogie woogie piano, also known in my world as chugling, known in many worlds as the blues shuffle riff, and then the other guitar player can take the role of the right hand in the boogie woogie guitar playing. And I want to talk about the right hand of boogie woogie guitar playing. Boogie woogie boogie 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 boogie. Piano. That's right. The right and the left hands of the piano. Because that's where these rhythms sort of stem from, because generally speaking, pianists are the band musical directors. Historically. Okay, so to do this, here I am in G. Happy trails to you. That's just our little. There's lots of lessons on chugling on my channel. Check them out. But when somebody's doing this, this is going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You take a small inversion of that chord. Hey, I'm going to use this one because I was indicating it before. If I just hold this G chord, and you'll add that suspension, but in a rhythmic, more rhythmically syncopated fashion. So you might go and. Hey, I'll even just do it on the chord. So I did and 3. And 3. And. So you're doing a higher inversion, or in a higher register, the same thing that's happening in the bass, or the lower register, the left hand of the piano. Like that. But you're doing it, I mean, if I was to do this like, let's see. That's a good way to see that. Is that the same notes move. We're adding the suspension. So I'm holding a G triad. And then I'm changing that G triad to a C triad by putting my 3rd and 4th fingers at the 5th fret of the G and B string. And then you just play them and syncopate them as a boogie woogie pianist would. And you can do this in all kinds of inversions. There I might just add the suspended 4th, just for ease of maneuvering. I'm holding a D-shaped G chord. Or here, I could do it there. Maybe I would just do the suspension there. Just sliding the ring finger forward, you can see that. G to G sus4. 1st finger, 2nd finger, 3rd finger. Slide that 4th finger forward and back. Or do it like so. Now the all-time easiest way and place of doing this, it's not so easy on this acoustic guitar, but is to just bar your 1st finger at the 12th fret for your G chord. I'm just going to move it to the key of C. So if somebody was playing this, all you're doing is going back and forth between a C triad at the 5th fret of the D, G, and B, and then suspending the 3rd and the 5th to a 4th and the 6th, or what you end up with is an F triad. And you could do this in different ways. There's C and F. But this is the easiest way, very Keith Richards way to do that. And we can talk about, I think I should do a whole lesson on rhythmic patterns for the right hand of the Boogie Woogie piano. But if you listen to, a lot of Stones does this. There's a lot of this in the Stones. Brown Sugar by the Stones is just a textbook example of this. If you listen to the verses, Keith, I believe, plays he plays the left hand, I think, on this, and Mick Taylor the right, but I may have that backwards. And they're perfectly interwoven, and each part changes on every verse. It's a little bit subtly different, and that's the magic of it. So if you take those ideas that I was just manipulating there and listen to how they're manipulating them in Brown Sugar, you'll get the idea very, very quickly. And then you should, of course, listen to lots and lots of Chuck Berry and listen to the piano player, because that's where these ideas come from. Rock on. Shred until you drop.